cold open time again. This is the problem with two audio sources. We had such good energy today on the Tom Kelly Show. My friend Dom Leonelli, who was on the show 9 months ago, Dom has shot up to significant success on Instagram, in large part because of this podcast. Well, not this podcast, but because of a story he told on the podcast that we turned into a clip. And he's famous in Youngstown, Ohio, and also achieving New York City fame. And he sort of inspired me with a lot of my content this year. And you know what? It's been 9 months since he's been on the show. Let's find out if he's pregnant and the baby's mine. All right, let's start the show.
The Tom Kelly Show. Everybody, I want you to go to the Tom Kelly Show. I want you all to know about the Tom Kelly Show.
And then now we're matching that energy again. And content warning. Spoiler alert. I promise I hit record this time. You are experiencing a Youngstown, Ohio version of the Tom Kelly Show. Dom Leonelli, old comedian friend of mine. He was on the show 9 months ago. What we were doing? We were doing a show in Rye, New York with Ben and Michelle, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So it was kind of one of those things was Dom needed a ride to the show, and so forcibly he had to be on the podcast. And we recorded a few episodes that aired, and there was one story he told. Go check my Instagram. I just posted it on my Instagram. We won't rehash the whole thing. But he told this unique, jaw-dropping story about how in Ohio you could buy a car, you could just walk up and knock on a door and offer to buy a car.
Yeah.
That's socially acceptable there. And honestly, that clip took off. And I'm like, why is this clip taking off? And in part, it was because Dom was achieving his own success with his own Instagram and stuff. And two, it was people of Youngstown, Ohio, like hyper-local place, wanted to hear a story about themselves. And there's Dom. And you got to read the comments because you bought this car from a heroin user.
Yeah.
And without getting too into the whether or not that's ethical, not ethical, and whatever, you read the comments and it's all these people saying, yeah, that's true, man. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. How about somebody inbox me? They go, because we didn't mention the exact town. Remember? We just said the area pretty much. And the guy narrowed that down to that's a story of the south side of Youngstown, which is such a small area. And he knew that. Like people hit me up and they just know that's a Youngstown story.
So it's funny, and you've done a few Ohio Youngstown stories on other podcasts that have done well.
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess I think there's one thing I've come to realize with me doing humor about my hometown is I think being from New York and being from Long Island, part of that is hating and being willing to shit on and complain about and loving complaining about Long Island. Is that part of being from Ohio? Are you even complaining about it, or are you just saying what was?
Nah, man, I can't complain about Ohio or Youngstown. Just
really?
Everywhere I've been in the world, that's still my favorite place on earth. There's nothing like Ohio. I mean, I'm telling you, people, you gotta check out Ohio. I've been all over. I'm going back to my roots one day. I can't wait. Ohio, I mean, you know.
Wait, what makes? I think this was the question that set up your story last time. How is Ohio that different than being in a city in New York?
It's night and day. I mean, in Ohio, you have all this, you have your friends, you do bonfires, you're riding around four-wheelers,
In cities?
Big trucks hanging out. Yeah.
But because again, just giving you some stats on Youngstown, Ohio. It's a city with 66,000 people. It's a real city. It's at the foot of the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah.
What else do I need to tell you about?
It was in Goodfellas, the movie.
What was it in Goodfellas for?
The newspaper at the very end of Goodfellas. It's a vindicator from my hometown. They zoom up. It's Youngstown, Ohio, if you look at it.
Oh, so your town is the crappy town they put witness protection people in.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny. They did it because it was a huge mob town.
It was?
Yeah, that's why it was in Goodfellas. That's why they put the newspaper in there. It used to be called, it was actually nicknamed, you could Google it, Youngstown, Ohio, Bomb Town.
Bomb Town?
Yep.
And why did they call it Bomb Town?
Because all the mafia were blowing up people's cars. It blew up a car easy.
Okay, so you're proud of it? Or do you still have family there?
Yeah, I have a lot of family there.
Do you go back once a year?
Yeah, I try to go back as much as I could. You know, luckily it's not that far, but I go back a lot, hang with my family. Man, they're great.
I mean, by the way, that's the name of your stand-up special,
What's that?
Bombtown.
Oh, Bombtown.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not because you're funny.
Steel
but
City. I don't know.
Steel, Steal City. No,
That's funny. I like that, dude. You just gave me a joke. Huh?
there you go.
I'm going back home. Listen, I'm going home to Ohio, and I'm doing a show actually in Youngstown, Ohio, and it's in my hometown. I'm gonna tape it, so you'll see the clips and stuff. But also, I might have to throw a little ad lib in there about Steel City.
Steel City, and then if the show doesn't go well, you call it Bombtown.
I even met a cop in New York once. I was getting threats from social media when we were going big. When I was in West Village, a guy told me, I don't know, for whatever reason, it was one of my first viral videos. A guy hated it. And he goes, when I see you on McDougal Street next time, I'm shooting you in the head. The dude said that. And I freaked out. I ran up to a cop and told him. And then he's like, man, you know, comedians get threats like that. Famous people get threats all day like that.
And what do you do? Do you put it in writing?
He said you can't do anything. He's like, no, even after 3 or 4 times, you can't do anything, which is crazy. He's like, different. He's like, they could go to a library and they could have sent the threat through there. He's like, he's like, for it to really get like a search warrant, you'd have to actually be shot. It's crazy that it comes to that.
You know, it's funny. So I wasn't going to share this story on the podcast. But I had filed a police report yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Not about online threats. So this was more of an in-person threat.
Oh, man.
I go on these, you know where the Long Island serial killer is from and all that? Where
I just seen
you know
it
where Jones Beach is?
No. I just started checking that out, actually. It was like 2 years ago or so.
Listen, one of the things you should do on your journey to New York, one of the greatest national or natural treasures on the East Coast is Jones Beach.
Okay.
They have zero development. It's a barrier island under Long Island. So basically it's a big chunk of sand where people go in the summer and it absorbs the waves from hitting mainland Long Island. That's your geography nerd sentence. And the joke about Gilgo Beach, Jones Beach, Tobay Beach is, you know, that's where you would hide a body if someone died. And then what do you know? 11 years ago, people started finding these bodies of dead sex workers, and it turns out people were really doing it.
Wow.
So I've been going down there when my career fell apart. The one gift I got out of it was going on long walks on the beach by myself. I would walk, I would pray, I would get centered. I went on one of those Monday morning after visiting my mom for her birthday. I go on this walk along the ocean. I am praying. I am one with God. And as I'm walking, and there's no one to be seen for a mile in any direction, an eternity going south because it's just the ocean. And as I'm walking up over a dune, I see a guy with a samurai sword. I think Dominican, hair like yours, curly, poofy hair, with a hat on, but it was poofy on the sides. And he's swinging the sword like Napoleon Dynamite in a karate scene.
Wow.
Right? And then he puts the sword in the sand. And I grew up with friends who used to do samurai sword stuff.
Wow.
You know, and I'm like, all right, this is just one of those idiots. But I'm laughing, like nostalgic. I'm like, oh, this reminds me of my friend Egon. I had a friend named, we would call him Egon, and God bless Egon, who you outweigh Egon by 3 times. Egon rented a house and had a dojo in the garage, and you couldn't call his garage the garage. You had to call it the dojo. Anyway, you know, Egon was like a real life Dwight Schrute. If you remember that from The Office. God damn it, man.
Oh, I do actually.
Yeah, the guy with the glasses from The Office. He was a real... Anyway, I'm like, all right, this is a real life Dwight Schrute. I'm walking up and now I'm close and I'm in the sand and I'm slow when I walk in the sand. I'm not a good runner, whatever. He has a samurai sword just a few feet away from him. And he goes, kneel before me.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, you're joking, right? And I think I said something like that. And he goes, but then you just sort of see in his face, he means it. I want you to get on your fucking knees.
Wow.
And I'm like, you know, I've lived in New York City enough to know.
People with samurai swords.
Well, not that, like, I've never, honestly, for all my
dangerous.
problems with New York, I've never had a gun pulled on me. I've never had a samurai sword pulled on me, but I've seen people be crazy. And I'm like, you know what? I'm alone. This guy could hit me. This guy could kill. There's nobody near me. I don't know what else he has on him. I don't know if there's anybody who will hear my cries for help. So I'm like, I will de-escalate. So I'm like, all right, hi. Hey, hi, my name's Tom. What's your name? My name is God.
Oh, gosh.
It's Jesus fucking Christ.
Wow.
And I'm like, it's 3 minutes between wherever I am and the parking lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just need to be calm and get past him because I can't just run from him because I'll just run further into the woods or the beach, or then I'll run further into where there's nobody to help me.
Right.
And speed through the story. Only in New York, a couple of other stray lines are, I'm going to kill you and your fucking family. And I'm like sitting there, and just to your point, I'm sitting here thinking, does he know who I am from the internet at first? Like I'm sitting like, these are the thoughts going through my head. I tagged myself in my location. Is he here for that? And he's like, no. And it turns out I don't think it was. But to speed through the story, and then I go and I call the cops. I mean, it's a man with a samurai sword. He had a woman who was very normal. He had a much nicer car than me. The woman who was driving him in a Mercedes 300 something.
Wow.
Good-looking, younger Asian woman. I don't know if he was on drugs or what, but he basically got into the car, put the sword in the trunk, and this very seemingly normal woman drove off with him.
TikTok prank.
I'm sitting there wondering, geez, you know what? I mean, except that I couldn't find another camera person, and I didn't see him go pick up cameras. And if it does wind up on, and listen, if it was a TikTok prank, I'm going to look like quite the pussy. I am. Like one of his lines, my eyes were just welled up with tears from the wind being in my face. It was cold. And he goes, why are you crying?
Oh,
and I'm like, I'm not, and I don't want to say I'm not crying. Does it help you? Does it help you to think I'm crying?
It was cold. It wasn't.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something, though. The funny one is almost like Superman and Kryptonite. Once I got into the concrete.
Yeah.
I felt like I'm like, yeah. I felt like it was like Popeye and spinach. And I was rambling, and I'm rambling about that for a reason, is I let that shatter me for a good few hours.
Right.
But then I sort of got back to this thing of, you know what, man? Being a New Yorker means loving the effing crazy.
Yeah.
What are the crazy things you love about Ohio that will never happen in New York City?
Well, I don't know if there is, like, I guess the fact
like the
that
Bomb City thing is a big thing.
Well, yeah, but that was back in the day. But even talking now, like the way people live in Ohio, how I feel like there's so much more love and togetherness.
Is there?
Yeah, and people are, yo, come here, man, pull it up. People are nice. And then, there's like barbecues. Yo, take the 4-wheeler through the woods. You're going to have the time of your life. And you'll be on a 4-wheeler and you're just riding through the woods. You want to shoot my gun? And you're just, And you go over to somebody's house, they're smoking like turkey. They're like, yeah, man, it's just an all around, just fun, good living, enjoying life, eating good, living good, Yeah. It's just, to me, it's the best place on earth.
But what I find funny is I think there are stories you tell that you don't realize are different than what I would consider normal people stories. Like you were talking about your dad using you to get money from prostitutes, was it? But
no, not prostitutes. He was selling cars. I don't know where your head went to.
I don't know. I was joking. I was just joking to get you to react. I'm just trying to get you to wake up. Your dad used you to go pick up money though from selling cars?
No, my dad always sold cars, and sometimes we'd go out there and he'd have me talking to salesmen, or I'd be.
So he had a lot.
I got into cars early. Now he's just, he just was busy, worked all the time. But I got into cars early,
and he would sell them out of your house, or
yeah, he would like a lot of them though. Like sometimes 7 cars in a week. You got to think we're just in the city. He'd be painting them. My father can paint a car in 1 or 2 days, and it would look brand new.
Really?
Yeah. So
how did he pick up that skill?
Just doing it his whole life.
Yeah. So did he work in an auto body shop or anything, or he just did it on the side?
Yeah, I think so. All around, he just always done it since he was a kid. But yeah, so he didn't have time. He's working, and he'd be like, "Hey, somebody's coming by. I forgot to pick up that '85 Monte Carlo. Just go out there and show it to him," and I'd go outside. I'd be like 9 years old or something. The guy'd be like, "Oh, how are you, young man? So is your father home?" I'd be, and I'd always hang with my dad, so I knew like the car talk. I'd be like, "Nah, he's working." I'd be like, "I got your keys though. We put gas in it." You know what I mean? So
Wait, and you would go on the test ride with him?
No, they would just buy it. I just show them the car, get
And you
the
would
money.
take the cash and count the cash at age 12?
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah, I'd be counting it and just show them the car and all that. He'd check it out, My father told me to tell him a few things about it, He would just paint them and make them new. I'd mess up the words, because I was a kid. I didn't know. I'd be like, yeah, all the way around it's got new rotator cuffs and shit. Like, I wouldn't know what I'm saying. Or I'd be telling them, like, whatever bullshit about the car. There was always something, like, I did, like, because, I'd help him clean. We'd detail the cars. And he'd just give me a little job to keep me busy, like the door jams. And I used to lay those door jams out. Like, looking back on it, I remember showing people the car, and I'd be like, yeah, now, look, just check out this door jam. People would be like, what? I'd be all proud of it. No, look at that. Do you see that? Do you see that door jam right there?
So we had a joke about one of our neighbors growing up. He somewhere along the line, he learned the word transmission. And he would just try to ask, and it would sound like, 70s and 80s grown-ups talking cars. And one of the lines was, why is she vibrating? Because the engine's on. That's why she is vibrating. And then the other one would always go, must be the transmission. Anyway, that's the kid thing. So, Graham, a lot of romance stuff on your TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
Who's doing that with you now?
I try to just get somebody I'm cool with to record some of the videos. Some are done. I do all different stuff, actually. It's funny. I do some scam stuff too. Like, I'm actually making fun of the people that are doing that. But I think sometimes people don't realize it's satire, and they'll come up to me, yeah, dude, I got a great scam. And I learn really good scams from people. Like,
like one.
I just had somebody tell me one recently that they do. I guess that there's this, hotel or something in Brooklyn. Somehow this guy found out it has a really nice gym, and if you just walk in, they changed the front desk lady, and he just walks in. They just let anybody go in the gym. His friend brought him one day, so he works out for free at this really nice, like, luxury building gym.
That's a big
every
thing.
day.
That's a big thing. You could go in to any hotel, get a free breakfast.
Yeah,
no, a lot of them. You got to figure out which ones offer the continental breakfast.
And people get mad. They'll come in the comments, this is why we're spending so much. You shouldn't support this. It's like, bro, if you're going to go eat that free breakfast at those hotels, unless you're in Rome or something, this person's not in a good place,
So, but it's funny. Like, one that I know a couple of people used to do down in Florida was just crashing hotel pools.
Oh, wow.
Where there are resort pools. And if you're from downtown Orlando, by the way, I love how I say Orlando. I stress the "and." Orlando. Yeah, you just pick the Carib Royale, 2 pools.
Wow.
Pick one.
Just hop in there.
Yeah. And what room you in? Just pick a room, 352.
It's all about confidence. That's all it is.
Well, it's confidence and a little bit of inside knowledge.
Yeah.
You need just a bit. Like, dude, when I was in LA last year, a guy pulled off the pool scam big time. And he was a bit of a douche. And I actually started to call him on being a douche, and then we wound up becoming good conversation buddies. The guy's move was to go to the front desk and say, I forgot my key for 310. Could you just let me into the pool? And he was in for the whole day. And there was a bathroom.
Wow.
The bar, there was easy access to the bar. And he just had to not go outside the gate again.
Yeah.
And he was in. But he also knew room 310 because he had stayed there before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you got to know, you at least need enough knowledge to bluff the room structure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the guy brought a Bluetooth speaker. And actually, this is where I wound up talking to him because he was a bit of a douche. I hate the pool had a DJ or something playing.
Yeah.
And then he decided to start DJing fish songs on the side. And I'm like, dude, pick one. Either get the other DJ to shut up or you need to stop with the fish songs.
Yeah.
And then as I'm kind of getting combative with him, he's like, oh, what do you do? What do you do? And it turned out he had worked at America's Got Talent when I worked there.
Oh, wow.
So we, thank God we didn't get into fists because then somebody might have seen our mugshots and said, oh, they should know each other.
Right. Yeah. AGT.
AGT. So if I were finishing this episode, what would be a couple of your scam tips here.
Here's one I'm just learning actually that I didn't know about. But if you're if you're homeless, you could stay in a laundromat for 24 hours. These are ones people told me that they've done in New York. They go, yeah, man, I'm telling you, I did it for a while. Just go there. I bring the girl some fruit, a couple peaches or something, the lady that works there. And they know you're not really messing around. They don't mind. You just go sit in the corner and sleep. And he told me he did for a while. McDonald's, I guess, the 24-hour McDonald's has a rule if you buy something.
Every hour or something?
I think every half hour or whatever. And he's like, yeah, you got to just go get a cookie every half hour. Don't bother nobody. $4 a night, you're staying in Times Square. Can't beat that. There's security. They wake you up every half hour, but, if you're in New York, you're going to probably get up every half hour anyway.
Okay. But I love that you're giving out homeless guy tips.
These are the ones people have been giving me.
Like, I think that's a sign of something you're afraid of deep down. Are you afraid of being homeless?
No.
Because there were moments where I was afraid of you being homeless.
Well, I was homeless moments. So.
Well, there you go. When were you homeless?
Just little times here and there. I always had a couch here and there, but I was too proud to go back home, honestly. That was my thing. And I was too proud to tell my family when I was suffering because they're a very realistic family. Listen, they care about me. They were like, hey, maybe comedy isn't your thing. Early on, not even early on, 5 or 6 years in, comedy's hard.
And dude, you were, let's also own this, you were a party guy and you're a great comic now.
Yeah, but anytime I was drinking, it was for free. That's why I was playing the club.
Well,
it wasn't like that was where the money was. It was just.
Let's put it like this. I'm glad you curbed your drinking. That's what I'm saying. I think you got better, and you got better once you did.
Well, yeah, I think the problem with my drinking was it was free every night given to me. And, I guess, I don't know. It just.
Yeah, no,
never had anything for free.
No, difference between me and you is I was afraid of it and turned it down. I'm not a better person than you. I just had more fear of it.
Well, and, people make their mistakes or whatever. That's how we got paid at that club. Oh, and I used to have an ego like, oh, I'm worth something.
Yeah.
And then it ended up falling back on me a little. But, there's just a couple of nights I was a little too drunk, but.
No, but I think, but I felt like you got healthy. I'm saying it wrong. I'm saying it in a judgy way. But did you get healthier or am I just wrong?
No, you probably caught me a couple of nights when after
just
the
older
sets
now?
Or whatever. I don't know, but
there's like a vibe to you, a vibrance to you now.
Maybe I just came through a breakup. I'll be honest with that. That's got me so great. It's funny now that I'm I was I was trapped in this thing, and I was just telling my brother this. It was so weird, how we can fall into stuff. So I haven't been sick. My last girlfriend, I was at least myself with. And my brother's telling me, he's like, dude, this new girl, you're not yourself with her. He's like, I feel like, you should have to be yourself. It's weird when you guys are around because you're not the Dom I know. And now that we broke up, I was like, I was kind of bummed out for 2 days, but I think that was just because of rejection. And now that I'm back to myself, it's been a week. I'm like, man, dude, I'm singing. I'm listening to music. I'm like, wow, I can't believe
But I think I met this girl, right? She had a legit job. Right?
Yeah, she did. And I was with her for 3.5 years. We fought a lot. So maybe
we were joking that this should be your sugar mama, not that.
Yeah, it's that girl, actually. Yeah. And it turns out, she never became it. And I think I was just caught more in the trap of, wow, finally somebody with a career and a regular job and somebody that's at least, I don't know.
Actually, this is a real question. Did being around somebody with a real career make you question your own careers, or how did you act differently? Did you have to act like you had health insurance, or?
No, I was always honest. I think I grew up a little bit more in general, just living life. But I don't know if I was maybe I was just a little childish trying to be too funny back in the day, maybe always trying to be on or whatever. But,
Or here's my question for you. You had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Serious job. Made serious money for the sake of this story. You felt like you weren't yourself with her, or how did you change?
I see what you mean. I don't know. I would just be I little things. I didn't realize the relationship was, I guess, so toxic. It was one of these things I was always worried about. Her feelings always getting hurt over nothing. She'd pull up stuff that meant nothing and bring back the past and always had me on edge. What, babe? And just had me in a depressing state to where I didn't know what was wrong with me. I wasn't getting out of bed till 2, and then I realized I've been fighting with somebody for 3.5 years over nothing. And then, I realized that was her. That's how she grew up. That's her life. That's who she is. It's always got to be a problem and an argument. And I was always like, what, babe, I'm sorry. And then she'd cry and make me feel bad. Can you hold me? You really hurt my feelings. And it'd be because, like, I comment on somebody's Instagram, thanks for coming to the show, or something. If I went to the gym, she would be sad and crying.
That's not somebody who could date a comic. All right, yeah.
And so I think, in general, just getting trapped and listen, a part of me, I act like people I'm around a lot. So, like, to the part of, like, maybe when I was being goofy at LOL.
Yeah, well, we were with crazier people.
I was hanging with comics that maybe bust each other's balls too hard, or maybe I did something like that, or I don't know, whatever.
No, I don't want to insult the old you. I want to compliment the new you. There's a wisdom
I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, also, I'm getting older, too, and
the testosterone dropping. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, that's probably it. But I'm also came to a point in comedy that I bet you this might be what it is. Back then, I just thought, it's definitely going to work out for me no matter what. I had this made-up illusion like, oh, man, I just got to wait my turn,
Yeah.
And then I started to realize as I'm getting older, nobody's coming to save me,
Okay, that might be the deepest thing. Fuck. That might be the deepest thing I've needed to hear in a while. Because you're right. I spent a big chunk of time putting the hours. You'll get your turn.
Yeah.
And turn for what? Actually, like the old song, turn down for what?
Yeah.
No, but my turn for what is an interesting question. Did I have my turn? Am I going back for a second turn? Is there a bigger turn? Was teaching people how to clap my turn? It's not a bad turn, but I feel like there's a bigger turn where people will come out for me and I can say more things from me. So how are you getting your turn, or what did you do once you started realizing there is no such thing as a turn?
Well, I realized it when for a while I was killing, I know all comics say this, but you could even back me up. I was doing pretty good. I would say as far as learning comedy, how to write a joke, how to deliver a joke, and how to kill on stage, I figured it out, right? And I was doing that for a few years. And I'm just waiting. Like, I came to the top floor in my mind, which I know there's no top floor comedy, but at least to where I was like, wow, I know people that are getting paid at this level where I'm killing at. So I'm here. I'm at the penthouse suite. I wrote jokes. They're all killing, And then I realized, it's like another comic told me, you get to the penthouse suite, you figure out comedy, and those doors open, and that beautiful room is empty. There's nobody there to see you, And
then you got to fill it. What could you do to fill the penthouse?
Yeah, and now that's why I'm like, okay, turn on the videos. Let's get the pod. Maybe some of this was I used to walk around and just fantasize about it all working out for me. I'd leave an open mic and I felt so good with the delusion of, it's going to happen, instead of facing the reality, can I actually be good? And then when I said, you know what, I need to find out if I need to be good. And I was like, I just made up my mind, like, we're doing it. I'm gonna,
Well, who tells you if you're good? Is it the number of hits on YouTube? Is it
to me, it's the kill on stage. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like people in general, and not even really the kill for me, honestly. For me, it's how the people feel. If they come up to me and they'll tell me if I'm good, and you could see it. They'll be like, man, we loved your stuff. And you know your worth, I guess. In your mind, okay, I could do the job. Like you see, okay, I did it. I did a great job on this show. Everybody liked me. I did the job at hand. So now the next step, you think you would get the opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
And then you don't, because there's also millions of other people that could do the job at hand. I guess something like that.
What do you say to people who are trying to figure out, what do you say to people who are waiting for their turn? I guess if I'm looking for a good button for this episode.
Yeah, I would say you got to make your turn.
And how do you do that?
That's where you have to get fans one way or the other. I don't know. I would say get on podcasts like the Tom Kelly Show if you can. Anything you could do, make videos with other people, put out content, as much as you could. Try to make it as funny. Like, if you're going for it, you got to think these people are going to see you for the first time. What do you want them to know about you? and be that, you know, like I would say, just go. You got to go after it. You know, here's the thing. Everybody knows exactly what it is that they have to do. It's just, are they going to go after it? Like, we all know whatever it is, you know, it's like, I know what I got to do, but should I go after it? Like, for me, for a long time, it was writing and listening to voice recordings. And then now that I'm doing that, I'm realizing, wow, the comedy's a little bit easier when I do this, you know.
And what was it? What was your easier move?
Like to just write, actually sit down and write and listen to voice recordings. It's something I would never do.
Really?
Instead, I would just go up on stage. How come, you know, and I wouldn't notice things. I started watching myself on tape. I'm like, man, I went like a minute, 15 seconds before I even said anything funny. And this is the first thing people
But were those tapes from LOL?
No, I mean, from good shows, it's like,
okay.
I could see from my face, I'm just, so, you know, the lighting, and I'm good, I don't know, you know, I tied my shoe today. I'm just saying, like, I'm not going up, like, you know, I wasn't aware of the mistakes I was making. You know, like, I wouldn't ever listen to myself. So when I went on stage, if I did good at the end, I just thought that was a good set.
So, because it's funny you say that. There are moments where I feel like I kill. I listen to myself and I realize I didn't.
Yeah.
And there are moments where I think I tanked. And I listen to myself and I realize it wasn't that bad. Do you listen to every set you do now?
No, I'm just going back and listening to the sets that matter now, because I'm like, I know when I go on stage and something comes out that I really like, then I'm like, oh, I got to go back and listen to that set. You know, and then I'll just be like, okay, this is where this is, and I like this, or, you know, try to watch myself at least. And you could see, like, what am I doing? What really worked? What did I really like? Like the Camaro story.
Yeah.
I like jokes like that.
Do you do that on stage now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit. And even just in general, I used to do all these real setup joke stuffs, but now I'm like, I like to really narrow it down to stuff like interesting stories or whatever. Stuff about me, but peeling the onion back more, I guess.
Yeah. Now, maybe that's part of what I see in you now.
Maybe.
Is a little more pain, a little more, no, or I don't know, a little more realness. Because you're right. I mean, I don't think I remember you being not funny. I remember you being young and crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't remember you being not funny. That said, I kind of like I feel like I know you now.
Oh, that's cool. Be more myself.
Okay, and I guess you know what? I'm going to totally edit this show down.
I don't mind.
No. But I'm going to... Because I guess here's a question I was going to say, should I do this on a second show with you? I have a home run question.
Oh,
you know,
we need it.
You know what? Hang on. Listen, Dom will be on again. I'm going to end the show here. And you know what? The next podcast will be even better because I have a great lead-off question. Folks, Dom Leonelli, where can we find you? Quick.
Dominic Leonelli on Instagram and YouTube, and Dom Salami podcast.
All that stuff will be in the show notes. Sit tight, people. We got one more. Just show love where love can be shown and hit subscribe and all that stuff. Dom will pop up again because I have a killer story or a killer question to get Dom really on fire. Good night, New York.